Hello everyone and welcome to Learn n8n Pragmatically. My name is Luca, I'm an AI automation engineer and n8n ambassador for the city of Turin in Italy. And today we'll be looking at how to build your first AI agent. Now what we want to do is we want to first create a workflow. This will bring us to the canvas view, which is this view that you see right here, where we will define the workflow for our automation. In our case, we want to build a simple AI agent. So we'll have some kind of a chat that will enable us to talk with our AI agent. The first thing we need to do is we need to set up a trigger. So just click on add first step and let's look for on chat message. We got the chat trigger in our workflow. You can recognize that this is a trigger because of the orange bolt icon on the left. That is to signify that this node is waiting for some kind of an event to happen. In our case, the event that this node is listening for is the receival of a chat message. To test it, you just open chat and you write whatever you want in this text box. So hello, for example, and you see that the node just turned green, which means it was successfully executed. And if I zoom in a bit, you can see that we got this weird looking message. This is because there's no agent in this workflow at the moment. So the output that we get is just the structure of the message and the event that we send to the chat trigger node. If we double click it, we can see that we got an action, which is send message. Then we got the session ID, more on that later. We also got the chat input, which is the text that we provided. Now, what we want to do is we want to have some kind of an AI agent that can take our message and use it to provide some kind of a response. Then I'll go to the right of my chat trigger node. I hit plus, then AI and AI agent. Let me close this quickly. So you can see this is the AI agent node. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory, but you see agent has an issue. Now n8n is pretty gentle with error logs, so it's pretty clear what's missing. In our case, our AI agent does not have a chat model connected. And you see if I zoom in here, the chat model is the only one with the asterisk, which means that is the only node that is vital for the node to actually work. See it plus on the chat model. Now, if this is the first time that you're using n8n, on the trial version, I suggest you go with OpenAI as a provider, just because you've got some free credits that are sponsored by n8n, but of course you can use whatever model you want if you already have some API keys. In my case, I'll just go with OpenAI because I already got some keys set up. And by the way, let's say if you want to create some kind of new credential, the only thing you need is the API key. Now we can select a model. In my case, I will select 5.4 mini, which is quick and cheap. So now we got our AI agent with the chat model connected. Let's try the chat again. So open chat and let's reset the chat session. I'll zoom out. What I want you to focus on is order in which the nodes fire up. There we go. You see that the agent is firing up while the model is firing up as well. And now we got, hello Luca, nice to meet you, how can I help you today? So if you follow up until here, well then congratulations, you just made your first AI agent. I know people are trying to tell you that AI agents are so complex and it's a black magic or whatever. It's really not. An AI agent is basically just an infrastructure on top of an LLM. Now, the agent that we built, it's still what we would define a GPT wrapper, because we just put some infrastructure on top of an LLM. Also, it's pretty dumb. You see, I said, hello, my name is Luca. If I ask a follow-up question, so what's my name again? You can see that the agent is going to say, I don't know your name from this chat yet, which is weird because of course he does know my name. This is because this agent is missing a vital thing, which is the memory. So there's no memory connected to the agent and the agent has no way to recall previous information from our conversation. Let's fix that. So we're going to click plus on memory and we will select simple memory. Now, this is just for training purposes. If you want to put an agent in a production system, then you may want to look at other memories. But for the time being, simple memory is more than enough. n8n is nice enough to handle all this thing for us. So the only thing we need to do is we need to provide some kind of a session ID, which is what we got in the chat trigger node. This will help our system save the information about the exchange between us and the agent in memory, and it's going to be able to use the session ID to recall the exact conversation. Also, the other parameter is this context window length, which is to signify the amount of exchanges between us and the agent to keep in memory. So in our case, 5 is going to be more than enough. Now that we got this, let's open the chat once again. Let's reset and you see I'm getting a different session ID, which is good. Now I want you to take a look at this, and you will see that the simple memory will fire up first, once, and then it will fire up again after the agent finishes the elaboration. This is because the first run, if we double click the simple memory, we can see in this case, output 1 of 2 was the load memory variable, which returns an empty list because this was the first chat of this new session ID, while the second run is save context, and we can see that in the chat history list we got 2 items, chat history 0 and chat history 1. The first one is the human message, so our request, hello, my name is Luca, and the second one is the AI message, so the response from the agent, which means that now the simple memory will fire up the first time, and we will see in the first run that the chat history now is no longer empty, because with the same session ID, the agent was able to fetch the previous exchange, which contained my name. So now this information will be used to generate the response from the agent. And we can see that, in fact, now the agent remembers my name. So let's say that I want to use this, or I want to show this to my mom or my grandma and to make them proud. I'll just go into the chat, make the chat publicly available. I'll copy this URL and I'll publish it, which means that now this URL is accessible from the browser so that everyone can use it. Now you see there's these messages in here. We can fix those, or we can change those by going to the chat message, and you see initial message. So hi there, my name is, let's call it Pragma as the channel. How can I assist you with today? Also add the field, title, hi there, let's call it Pragma bot, and then the subtitle will be start the chat, we're here to help you. Yes, let's go, I am here to help you 24/7. There we go. Once again, now if we refresh this, we see that nothing changed, and this is because you see there's this yellow dot in here, so the new changes are still not published, which means that the version that is online is not the version that I just updated. So I'll just hit publish once again, and now if I refresh, boom, Pragma bot, hi there, my name is Pragma, how can I assist you with today? Now keep in mind that if I send a message in here, so what's my name? The agent doesn't know it. Why is that so? So if I move back in here, I can see that nothing changed in here. This is because since the workflow has been published, now I need to look for the executions tab, and I will see that I've got some test executions with this icon, and this is the only one that doesn't have the icon, which is the production execution. If I double click in order to debug this chat trigger node, I can see that I've got a session ID, which is 419 and so on, which is different from the one that we got before, which was 993 and so on. So every time I refresh this chat, I'm getting a new session ID. So I would need to start over with giving information to provide context for my AI agent. Now this concludes our first session. If you followed up until here, well then congratulations. This was of course only the first session, and this project is not ready to be put on your curriculum as an AI agent builder, whatever, but education is vital if you want to improve in this kind of workspace. So stay tuned for more, and if you got any question, let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time on Learn Pragmatically.